Yeah, I've heard the rumours. I know what you've been saying about me. CMK changes his sliders more than your mum changes her knickers. Well, at least my sliders don't smell like fish and cheese mixed together. Now, did you know that you can support the CMK channel even more with a new year of eafc? Let's pay a little bit more to this channel. Don't worry, nothing's going to be changing. Just more chances to get involved with the king. So $1.99 for those who want to jump into live chats and react to episodes in real time. $2.99 for the princes. Chance to see yourself in rebuilds and RTGs, just like Gary and Luca before ya. And then $3.99 for the big spenders, the top whack. In addition to everything else, talk with me directly via DM for custom sliders. Anyone who gets involved will be shouted out at the end of every single video. So become a member like Dave Brown, proper legend. And not only have we been talking sliders for weeks, but he becomes the new signing for Big Marky White's Dorking. Volume 3 already. What time to be alive? Right then, back with another set. I feel like all I'm doing at the minute is working on sliders. But again, another update from EA. Has it made the game better? I don't bloody know. But with this set of sliders, I do feel like we're getting a little bit more gameplay, a little bit more from the CPU, which is exactly what we want. We want the game to be a little bit harder. We want it to be a little bit more challenging, and I think that gets us a little bit closer to what we want. So, as always, I'll go through a quick run through with all the settings and sliders and things like that, and then I'll go back and do a little bit of a deep dive into the ones that I think are important and the ones that we want to be changing throughout this. So as always, I do 5-minute half lengths. We do ultimate or legendary difficulty. I go with ultimate. I tell you what though, I've played on legendary a couple of times and I think it might feel a little bit more difficult than ultimate, so give legendary a go as well. We're going competitor mode on and player based difficulty, just to try and give the CPU as much as we possibly can. Game type settings then, we're going to be on custom. Authenticity features have to be off. Now, we've been going back and forward with these for God knows how long. I believe that this makes the game better having them off. Yeah, it makes it less authentic, whatever that bloody means. I know there's a list of things on the side there, but actually I think it slows the game down. It means I don't run at you as much. It means that they don't take you on and things like that. So we're going with authenticity features off. We're going dynamic wind settings, but we're going weather effects off. Again, I still don't trust this, but I've been enjoying this actually. This has been quite fun. Throws a little bit of something different into every single game. We're going with 29 sprint speed, quite slow, and we're also going with 49 acceleration for both. Again, quite slow, slowing the game down. I felt that after the update, we were going way too quick. So to slow that down a little bit more, and again, I always like a little bit of a slower pace. If you want to up the pace a little bit, I would just say stick the acceleration to like 50. Shot error for the user is going to be at 60, and shot error for the CPU is going to be down at 45. Shot speed at 50 for both, and header shot error for the user and the CPU both at 30. We've got pass error for the user at 70, and pass error for the CPU at 55. Pass speed both at 33. We've got header pass error at 65 for both. We've got injury frequency at 80 for both and 15 for the severity. We've got goalkeeper ability for the user at 60, goalkeeper ability for the CPU at 70. For marking is going to be at 60 for both, and run frequency is down at 20 for both. 73 for the line height for both the user and the CPU, and 28 for the line length for both. And then we're going to go with width 50 for both as well. And then fallback positioning is going to be up at 80. We've got 48 for power bar for the user, and first touch control for the user will be 65. First touch control for the CPU will be at 60. Intercept error at 85 for both, and ball deflection error at 90 for both. Tackle assistance is going to be way down at 20. CPU sliders then on custom, we're going to go with tackle aggression at 80, build up speed at 95, shot frequency at 90, first touch pass frequency at 60, cross frequency at 99, dribble frequency at 70, and skill move frequency at 80. So gameplay settings then, we go on competitive, we are precision, and we are full manual now. Again, to just try and make this a little bit more challenging for us as we're playing the game, a little bit more rewarding when you actually score a goal. The two ones that I would change if you are struggling the most, I would say it's the through pass. I would go semi for both of those. I've been toggling between semi for both of those, but I think with the fact that passing for us seems really far too easy, being on manual does mean that you make the mistakes and things like that. Pass receiver late, precision pass sensitivity on normal, directional for clearance, and we're going advanced defending. The rest of these I'll scroll through, but I haven't changed any of them. For the camera settings, we've got legacy for the single player camera, and we've got 15 for height and 7 for zoom. So I'll go back to the sliders then. The bigger changes, realistically, now I've already talked about this. The speed that everyone was going at was just far too high. So bringing it down to 29 and 49, I think this makes the biggest difference. If you were going to change anything, you felt that it was too slow, I would say just knock these up to 50. But at 49 for both of these, feel really, really nice at the minute, and 29 in terms of the sprint speed. I've seen a lot of people saying, how do you run past players and things like that? It's not that easy in the world game, to be honest. It's not realistic just to kind of hold sprint down and just blast past players. So I don't want to be sprinting past players with ease. If you do want that, these are probably not the sliders for you. These are realistic sliders. So with the pass error, I've decided to put our pass error up by quite a bit, actually up to 70, and theirs down low quite a lot by 55. And again, for me, it just was the fact that the CPU were struggling to string a couple of passes together, and I felt that our passes were far too easy. I still feel that they are far too easy, but I can't dare put it up any further than 70 at the minute. It might be different in a couple of weeks' time. Now, with the positioning, marking I think has come down a little bit. Now, with the marking, I've found that you put it up higher, a lot of players on the opposition team seem to be out of position a little bit too easy because they were trying to follow your players. I think at one point I had a player who received the ball back to goal and walked towards his own goal a little bit, and one of the midfielders made a run in behind the defender, and the defender was right up at the attacker's arse, and it just meant the midfielder had a real easy kind of road through in and just to score. So I've brought this down a little bit just so that defender would realise, right, this player is going out of my remit, let him go, I'll step back into my position, and actually this midfielder that's going to run into that space, I'm just going to intercept the ball from him. So dropping this down a little bit, I know it looks like we're making it a little bit easier, but we're actually not. We're just not allowing the AI just to follow people randomly all the way through the pitch. Run frequency, I think we've dropped this down by quite a lot. I was finding again that people were making runs willy-nilly and then just leaving gaps in behind. And I've tried to mitigate the kind of the defensive frailties with that 20 there, and also by upping, where are we? This here by quite a bit. I was finding that my fullbacks were sitting far too deep, along with the line height as well. I was finding that a lot of teams were sitting really, really deep, and I thought that it was a certain type of team, like a back five or a lower league team, but I played a couple of games against Premier League Championship opposition when they should have been stepping up and stepping out and trying to beat me, and actually they weren't. They were really sitting quite deep. So I've upped this quite significantly. My team plays quite deep and quite narrow anyway, but the opposition was doing that as well, and I was trying to kind of mitigate that. I don't want to do it any higher because I was finding that chip balls in behind teams were far too easy. So at the minute, 73 feels like a nice sweet spot. Any higher, you start to allow kind of too much space in behind. Any lower, then they'll just sit on their 6-yard box. So 73 feels really, really good at this point. Then for the CPU sliders, tackle aggression, I'd up this to like 90. I've brought it down a little bit, down to 80, just so that, again, they're not rushing into tackles, they're not flying at me and just allowing me to play a quick 1-2 around them. I don't know how to change the fact that the CPU don't make kind of slide tackles, lunging tackles, even if you're clean through on goal, and they could probably slide in and get a foot in. They just don't at the minute. That's one of those things that EA are going to have to change. I've tried to mitigate it, I've tried to kind of change it, but at the minute 80 tackle aggression means that they will tackle you, but they're not flying in and kind of leaving themselves vulnerable in terms of like leaving their position. Build up speed quite high. I think I've upped this from last time, but I just want them to be a little bit more direct, put it on me a little bit. I know it's quite high, and the problem with this and this being quite low is that I was finding that their passing was quite wayward. They were trying to do things a little bit too quick. That's why I've dropped their pass error right the way down. Cross and frequency, obviously, we've had this on 99 for God knows how long. Dribble frequency, I upped it really high, so that, again, I want them to try and take me on. I want them to try and kind of do something. But then I was finding that they were dribbling too much, and it was allowing me to kind of get round and tackle them and take the ball off them a little bit too easy. So 70 feels like they will run it, yeah, they will try and take you on, but they're not going to try and do it to their detriment and to lose the ball too much. And skill moves frequency, it was at 75 before. I've just upped it to 80 because, again, I want them to try and take me on, do a few little flicks and tricks and things like that and beat me. And I did play at one point at West Ham, and Lucas Paqueta did some mad move, nutmegged me in the box and got himself a penalty. And it was quite nice to watch, actually. But as always, geezers, that is our sliders for probably the next couple of days, maybe a week at most. I know these are coming out in quick succession, but I think they're necessary. It's not me just kind of throwing out a new set every time I feel like it. It's what I've been playing with, and every single time I've changed it, I want to keep you guys updated. So make sure that you get down in the comments, tell me how these are working for you. Again, be respectful. Make sure that if they're not working for you, tell me what you've changed and what you've done, and I'll try and implement it into the next lot of sliders. But as always, it's much love for me. I'll see you in a bit, and peace.